good evening, wherever you are listening to us on this very, very special podcast where we're going to talk to you about creativity, what it means in the world of PR, how creativity is evolving, and also some really great insights from the latest jury rounds where our friends Basti and James have been spending some time over the past few weeks. So, all of that to come in just a few moments. And welcome back. My name is Pierre Fitter. I work with Burson in India in a role that combines creativity and digital and analytics. And I'm very, very happy to host this podcast with my friends Basti and James. Basti, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and the work you do at Burson.
Hi everyone, I'm Basti. I'm a creative. I'm based in Jakarta, Indonesia. I'm currently the creative director for the whole region of APAC. And yeah, I've only been here for like almost 2 years, but I've been in the advertising circle for much longer. I'm not gonna reveal my age. And yeah, I've been around, and I'm so happy that to at the end I'm landing back to the agency world in Burson in the world of PR and meeting new friends like James and Pierre, and I'm excited to do this with them.
Thanks so much, Basti. James, over to you. Tell us a bit about yourself and what you do with us.
Thanks, Basti. Thanks, Pierre. And hello, Burson. It's been an absolute pleasure to be here and really thrilled and wonderful to be finally be part of the Burson family. It's been an amazing journey, met lots of people. So for those who actually don't know me, my name is James Keng Lim. I am also the creative director of APAC. Think of me as your chief troublemaker, and we'll just leave it at that for now.
I love the idea of creatives being provocative because I think that that's what makes the job fun, right? And that's, I think, what gets the best ideas. But just talking about provocative ideas, James, both you and Basti recently served on juries at some really prominent award shows around the world. Why don't you start by telling us about that jury experience? And I'd love to also know from both of you, what was your favorite campaign that you saw through that jury experience?
Um, well, a few months ago, I was in the Dominican Republic judging the prestigious One Show, and most recently, the Lisbon Health Awards. Quite frankly, I'm still buzzing from the sheer audacity of human ingenuity. Every time I step into the jury room, it's like opening a treasure chest. And this year we had some real gems. What piece of work stood out? That's like asking a sommelier to pick their favorite
Favorite
vintage
wine.
after a particularly excellent harvest. But if I had to truly pick one that resonated, not just for its brilliance, but for its sheer courage, it would have to be Voice to Diabetes.
Mhm.
So for me, it wasn't just a campaign, it was a profound act of empathy and innovation, right? Um, they took a global health crisis, and which was type 2 diabetes in underserved regions, and they addressed it with elegant simplicity. In a nutshell, they used AI and voice technology to create a diagnostic tool into something as accessible as speaking to a phone. So it
Mm.
wasn't just about awareness, it was about empowerment through accessibility. So they leverage cutting edge technology not for spectacle, but for genuine human good. This wasn't about shouting, and it's something that we at Burson do very well. It's about earning trust and reputation through tangible, life changing action, and reaching out to populations that traditional healthcare models often miss. And it's that kind of work that doesn't just win awards, it truly changes lives. And to
Mm.
me, that is the ultimate measure of creative brilliance.
Yeah, that's a good point. We're actually going to come to that in the next question that we have. But Basti, I would love to hear from you on your favorite campaign that you saw.
Yeah, I think every year, every time there's like this award season, and then we get to judge, we get to travel the world, and we get to meet other people who shares the same passion. It's always a nice season because, like, for most of the time of our year, we spend our times working jobs and working projects that can really make us feel like, why do we do this? Like why are we staying in this thing? And then like you go there, you see that advertising, PR, digital marketing is not just about selling the products, but it's about how we can use those products to actually help humanity. And that is almost like a nice reminder of why we actually stay here for as long as we have. And so yeah, that's why it's always nice in this kind of seasons. And when it comes to like the work that really sticks in my mind is probably the last one, which is like the Ken in Ken Lions. I think James also put this in his favorite. We had this work from we found this work from AXA. I think it was
Mm.
from France. I think it's called the Three
Yeah,
Little Words. So
yeah.
it's the reason why we love it so much because it's so simple, right? So basically, just a little context, a little story is like when you live in France, and every time you get married or something, you need to have a compulsory home
Home
insurance,
insurance.
right?
Yeah.
And then like that home insurance have like one line that you can actually liquidate or like pull out all the money from the insurance if your house got burned or whatever it is, like has basically broke down like the house, it's not livable anymore. And then they just add three little words like end domestic violence. And then like that just changes the whole thing, right? Like now you will think twice before you want to beat your spouse, because then he or she or they can just take all the money and build a new life without you, and you'll be left without anything. So it's just a
Yeah.
very nice quick fix, very simple. It doesn't feel like advertising, but it's still marketing.
Yeah.
It's still marketing AXA. It still builds the reputation for AXA. It's so
Uh,
effective, and
And
that's why we
I
love
love
it so
that
much.
too, because it sort of connects to what James was saying about building empathy for people going through a hard time, right? Because in this case, I
Yeah,
think, and I remember this campaign that you mentioned, because the insight over there was a lot of people don't leave those violent homes because they feel they have no resources to help
yeah,
them. And just by
yeah,
adding this to your contract with the insurance company, you're saying, you're suffering domestic violence, don't worry, we've got you covered. Like literally got you covered,
yeah,
right? Yeah, those were beautiful campaigns. And I think, building on both those campaigns and what you talk about, trust, reputation, it shouldn't feel like advertising. We've seen that over the past, at least the past decade and a half, there was kind of this move towards measured campaigns. So you have impressions and reach and engagement and number of video views. And, uh,
yeah,
that was probably because of the rise of digital and how digital can be measured. But you're actually seeing a lot of campaigns like the ones you mentioned win right now. What do you think juries are focusing on these days? Because it doesn't just seem to be the traditional big creative idea or the one that had the most video views winning. There's something else that's going on in jury rooms. Tell us about that.
Um, yeah, I mean, for a while now, I feel like we've been drowning in metrics, like impressions and clicks and shares. And so don't get me wrong. While these are important,
Yeah.
quite frankly, they're the output, not necessarily the impact. And I'm thrilled to say that the pendulum is swinging back with a crucial difference. Now, this is not a rejection of digital, but rather a recalibration of what impact truly means.
Mm.
Juries today, and we've seen this, and Basti and I have seen these sitting in the rooms, we're looking beyond vanity metrics. We're asking very basic questions, but profound questions. Did it change behavior? Did
Yeah.
it shift perception? Did it build a genuine connection? And did it create cultural ripples? Right. So we are less interested in a million fleeting impressions, but we're more interested in a thousand deeply meaningful engagements. The focus is firmly back on the quality of the idea and its ability to create tangible, real world value, thereby earning reputation. And that's through, and that could be brand affinity, sales, or societal change. Now, digital tools are still essential. There's no going about that and denying it. But they are seen as a vehicle for the idea, not the idea itself. If anything else, it's about depth over breadth and genuine influence over fleeting virality. Right? I think, again, ultimately, reputation isn't bought. It's earned through meaningful action and authentic engagement.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think authenticity is, I think, the key there, right? Like I think we've been in the jury room judging all over the place, and I feel like it's very rare the conversation gets to like, oh, this idea is nice, but let's see how many views it got. Like it, I personally never got to that conversation in any of my judging experience. So I think at the end of the day, if the idea is great, if it connects with your soul when you watch the case study and you see the print ad, whatever it is, it really touches you somewhere and like, make you feel happy and giddy and warm inside. That's it. And that can only comes from authenticity. No machine can ever measure that. No research method can ever measure that. So I feel like it's still important in our daily life to convince the clients, to convince people to buy our ideas. But I think especially in terms of like awards, yeah, it's never ever taken first priority. I feel like, in at least in my experience.
Yeah. But that actually brings me to another point that we wanted to discuss, because this sort of came out of Taj Reed, our global creative director, was at Cannes and attended a bunch of events and, was seeing everything happen live. And in his newsletter that he sent out just a couple of days ago, which would have been, I think, the 23rd of June, for those of you watching this a little later, he had this one line in the email that said, what we're noticing is that the campaigns that win are based on ideas built for the jungle rather than the zoo. And I think intuitively we kind of understand what that means, but I'd love to get your take on how you interpret that. What does that mean in terms of the work we do, the kind of work we want to prioritize? So maybe Basti or James, whoever wants to go first. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I think that comes from a very famous quotes that we always use to kind of shame research. Because like, if you really want to learn the behavior of an animal, you go to the jungle, not the zoo, right? And I think it probably derives from that. And I think what he was saying is he was looking at these ideas, and the ideas are actually ideas that will work in real world, solving real problems, giving real impact, making real changes for real people. So I guess that's as simple as that. And in our daily lives, we go through with this, right? Like every single idea has to go through 16 different layers of research. And at the end of the day, that idea, no matter how good it is, it becomes so watered down. It becomes, just tasteless and seasonless and like, yeah. So I guess that's one part of it. And then and I think he was looking at these ideas in Cannes, and yeah, basically just in awe of the rawness and how it actually solves real problems rather than living in this bubble, right? So I guess that's what he's talking about to me.
Kind of a knock on scam awards as well, partially.
True.
Right?
True. Yeah.
James, what about you? Yeah.
Well, so I'm gonna take a bold assumption and Taj, if you're listening in, this is what I think you're trying to say, right? So I don't think Taj was referring to research. I think Taj was talking about Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. I think in his head he was thinking about that.
True.
So Taj, correct me if I'm wrong.
So,
Yeah.
To me, it speaks to the fundamental difference between ideas that are carefully curated and controlled versus the ideas that are as Basti said, are wild, adaptable, and thrive an unpredictable environment. The zoo idea is often perfectly polished, confined to a specific channel, and perhaps designed to be admired from a safe distance. It might look beautiful in a case study video, but it may potentially struggle to breathe outside its control habitat. A jungle idea, on the other hand, is inherently organic, resilient, and designed to interact with its environment. It's built to spark conversations, to be adopted and adapted by people, to live and evolve in this messy, unpredictable world of ours. And it's less about perfectly executed campaign and more about authenticity and about a perfectly ignited movement. So I feel it's about creating something so inherently valuable and authentic that it earns its place in our cultural conversation, and in the process build reputation organically, one interaction at a time.
Essentially, ideas that are stronger because they end up clashing and interacting and getting molded by culture, rather than ideas that were sort of, in this hermetically sealed environment. Like you said, it might just be one outdoor ad or a single creative on YouTube or something. Great. And that actually brings me to the next question I had, which was, when we think about creativity, this tends to be I've seen this tendency, particularly in the PR and comms world, is there's this tendency to view creativity as a single video or a single nice design on social media or a great designed website. That's not the jungle kind of creativity we're talking about, right? The kind that actually earns conversations, earns trust, earns reputation. So tell me how we can make that shift from the mindset of creativity being about the product production rather than creativity being about the idea that earns trust and reputation.
I think for me, it's always about my thing is always like no matter what you're trying to sell, whether you're trying to sell a shampoo or like a banking service, look at how that particular product can actually enrich people's lives or like help people's in a problem that they are facing daily. Or we can even find like small little problems that is being talked about daily, and then we can try to inject the use of the products within it. So I think if we just selling this shampoo as like the best shampoo in the world, yeah, right, okay, right, but like nobody will ever like believe it anymore. But if you say that this shampoo is will actually solve this self-confidence, or like it will make you feel like the woman that you are or whatever it is, like then it becomes real. It becomes like something that you, us as friends, as people, actually talk about in our daily lives. We don't talk about shampoo, we talk about us being who we are, us being a better friend, us being something, and that becomes that to me is always how I can inject my campaign and my project into people's conversation. So
Yeah.
I guess that's.
I mean, you're talking about bathing products. Like the most famous example of this is Dove.
Dove.
Like real beauty,
Yeah.
25 years,
Yeah.
going strong, changed the conversation around what beauty should be and how it should be
True.
perceived. So absolutely. James, sorry, let's come to you.
Yeah, I know a creative idea isn't just about pretty picture or being witty. And this is one of the things I've always tried to advocate. Creativity isn't the output. Creativity is the process, right? So in our world, a truly creative idea is a strategic insight transformed into a compelling narrative or an experience that earns attention, shapes perception, and drives action. Right? It's about finding the inherent newsworthiness, the cultural tension, the human truth that make people want to talk about it, want to share it, and want to engage with it. So it's about influence, not just impressions.
Mm.
It's about changing minds, not just stopping thumbs, right? I feel that ultimately in PR, our currency is trust and credibility.
Mm.
And their reputation isn't given. It has to be meticulously earned through
Yeah.
consistent, impactful, and authentic ideas.
Yeah, just like Dove, right? Like what you mentioned. They don't get it overnight. I still remember it was like 2004, right? When they first put out that billboard of seven women, different bodies, different skin color, different hair. And it was like, we're all, oh my God, I've never seen that before in a beauty ad. And then, they keep doing it every year. And maybe the most well known is Sketch, but if you look at it, Dove has been doing it every
Yeah.
single year.
25 years,
And
2.5
then
decades. Yeah.
and now that's the reputation that is built for over than 25 years, but like what James has mentioned. It's not easy, but if we're consistent and if the marketers from the client side is also willing to give their time and energy towards that consistency, they will make it. It's
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to add on to Basi's point as well, I mean, we're in a position to shape that, as an agency
uh,
firmly rooted in the belief that reputation is earned. We are in a position to change that. And we just need to round up the right tribe internally, externally, with our vendors, and obviously with our clients, so that we create this community that's hell bent on making changes. And I truly believe that we're in a position right now to really instigate that change for a better world. And I truly believe in it. And I think we've got to be consistent. We've got to be true to ourselves, and we've got to deliver. And we've got to make sure that we've got people who are backing us and drink from the same Kool-Aid, as it were.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It kind of goes back to Harold Burson's belief that your reputation and the trust that you earn with your stakeholders, or the publics, as he put it, is through your actions, not necessarily your words, right? And yes, good actions told through a compelling, authentic story is what builds your reputation and trust. And I think that actually leads me to where the kind of roles that the two of you play, right? So you come in to help that client tell their story really creatively. When should a client demand that James or Basti are part of their account team or part of a meeting or a briefing? Like when do you have the most impact on a client story?
From
Go
the
to
beginning,
Basti
I
first.
think.
Go to Basti
This is a
first.
tough one. Okay,
Of
so
course.
ladies first,
Well,
Basti. Let's go with you.
Well, I think I would appreciate so much if they don't come to me like almost like in the middle of it. So this is our tagline, this is where we are, and this is where what we want to say. Now paint a picture about it. And that to me is like, yeah, I know that's my job, but it would also be nicer if you just come to me and like, look, this is my brand and this is the problem that I'm facing and I'm wondering how can I get out of it? That to me gives me a bit more room to play rather than, okay, this is a tagline, this is my color, I only use blue and like cerulean and dark blue, and that's it. Like, well, I mean, I can do it, but it will also be nice if you just come to me a bit earlier, so maybe we can find other words to play, other avenues to, like, yeah, that's
Yeah. So
to
like
me,
really early
the
on.
earlier, yeah,
And
the
not
earlier
coming
it
to you
is, the better.
saying, give me an influencer campaign, but coming to you and saying, here's the problem I have, right? Or here's the
Yes.
business goal I need to hit.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
James?
So totally concur with what Basti said, right? To all those who are listening to this, you should bring in a creative leader like Basti, myself, or any of our brilliant creative minds in Burson when you're facing a challenge that feels stuck, stale, or you simply need a jolt of unexpected brilliance to truly earn reputation, right? I think what the first thing you obviously need to do is define what the problem is. When you're launching to something truly new, you want to shift perception, or you want to overcome a crisis, when you need to create cultural impact, or when the brief feels a little safe or unexpected, that's when you should come to us. More importantly, if you want to break out of the echo chamber,
Yeah.
and truly surprise, delight, or provoke, that's when you call in the creative cavalry. If you like, think of us as a strategic, creative provocateurs, the idea
Troublemakers, as you
architects,
said.
the troublemakers, absolutely. And then we'll work together as a group, as a team, to unearth that singular, powerful insight that will transform everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the last question. Sorry, Basti, do you want to add to that?
I just
Okay,
want to say yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just nodding through both your answers. So, the last question, I'm going to let you both of you have fun and sort of build on what you were just saying, which is, let's sketch out your dream creative brief, right? This brief is the perfect brief. You couldn't have asked for anything better. What would that brief look like? So, I don't know, Basti, let's start with you, and then we'll go with James.
Oh God. I would love to create a film that would go on Netflix. And I would love it to be about something that has to do with, obviously changing the norms, changing society, maybe something to do with my LGBT thing, but it should be for a brand, and then how that brand can actually, change how people see a certain groups in their community. And that if they want me to like create a script for a film about it, that will be like, that's it, I'm done. I'm putting my papers after that, like goodbye. That's all.
The royalties will be pretty good if it's on Netflix, so you probably could do that.
I know. Yeah.
James?
Well, I think we can always dream big, and we should. But if there's anything else, we need to be rooted in the fundamentals, right? Quite often I get colleagues coming in and say, look, how do I even write a brief? What is a brief? How brief is a brief? For starters, it's not a 50-page document.
No.
It has to be a concise,
That's not one
inspiring
line
call to
either.
action. It's not one liner, right?
No.
If I were to break it down, I think there are a few components of what I think a brief should be. Number one, we need a single-minded challenge. See it as the why. What is the problem? And articulate it with passion. Second, the unvarnished truth. The what's really going on, right? Deep insights about the audience and the market. The desired impact. What success looks like. Let's park impressions for now, right? But what's the specific change we're aiming for to help us earn a stronger reputation? 4, the brand superpowers. What makes the brand or the product unique? 5th, the audience deepest desire or fear, and how does the brand interact with that? And 6, knowing creatives, we need clear boundaries. Do let us know the no-go zones.
Yes, please. Yes.
And last but not least, crucially, I think a spark of inspiration. Now, like I said earlier before, creativity isn't the output, it's the process. And every one of us in Burson is creative. So round off your brief, not with a solution, but with a provocative question or a trend or a statement that you want to make. That would help us really try to mold it. And last but not least, wrap it up with great enthusiasm, with a clear mandate to be bold. And that's where we can truly, do something brilliant. And obviously, trust us to find the most exhilarating path that will earn the brand its rightful place in public consciousness.
And maybe win a couple of awards along the way.
Hopefully.
It will come.
All right. Yeah. James, Basti, it's been so amazing talking to you. I just found myself nodding through everything you were saying because not just the experience you bring, but the perspectives you've also gained through the process of being on these juries over the many years, but also your most recent experiences. Thank you so much for giving us time for this chat. And I hope everyone's listening. And I hope we get some amazing creative briefs over the next 1 year to do some really great magic with our clients. Thank you, everyone, and thanks for listening.